Hello there, this is Pika Pow, a video game collector slash voice actor fan and all of that. I haven't made a video for quite a long while. In fact, I haven't made a video for pretty much an entire month, because there's basically not much to show you. Well, it's time to rectify that by doing another one of these collection videos. And this time, it's going to be about interactive DVD games, which, DVD games, that was a bit of a fad back then, wasn't it? Trying to compete with video game consoles by making interactive DVD games of everything they could. Who Wants to Be Millionaire, Family Fortunes, Bullseye, all that sort of stuff, any popular faces they could get. You name it, they probably made a DVD game out of it. But yes, this is the modern day, the modern day, modern age nowadays, where we have streaming services and stuff, and apparently that's all taking over, and physical media is going to be a thing of the past, and everything is on streaming services these days. Spoiler alert, no it isn't. So yes, nowadays, with most people moving on to that kind of stuff, we probably aren't ever going to be seeing DVD games again. But most of them were very mixed quality, to say the least. Some of them good, some of them a right load of bollocks. But let's take a look at some of these DVD games I do have in my collection and see what they're like. And warning, about 95% of this, or at least half of it, is Millionaire. At least so anyway. So speaking of which, we start off with the first edition of Millionaire, released in 2003, and apparently the world's first DVD game. Play it with your friends and family. Oh yeah, it's just like sitting in the famous hot seat with Chris Tarrant and all of that. So yeah, it's basically does what it says on the tin. It's Millionaire, it's a DVD game, it's pretty much like the show. This is actually the second release of this, actually, the Universal / VVL release, because this was previously released before on 2 discs. But apparently that version had a an error of some sort. They eventually re-released it a year later, and all the content is just on a separate single disc instead of 2. But we've got the instructions. Also, if you make it to 1 million, you could win some Universal DVDs and all of that. You can probably just find your charity shop nowadays. One of those sort of entry things, and an advert for the Interactive Championship Challenge, which also came out around the same point that this did. Because when 1 millionaire is good enough, you make a second edition of Millionaire. So just a year later, we got the second edition with more questions, more Chris Tarrant, and more chances to try and win a virtual million. Interestingly, I'm not sure where this came from. We've got a sticker on the back. Kind of looks a bit Blockbusters-esque. I don't think that's where it came from. But I got this in a CEX, not a Blockbuster. So again, the user guide and that entry thing. And then when you've got 1 millionaire and you make a second millionaire, you do a third one, of course, and this one is the Family Picture Edition. So it's not just your usual text questions. Oh no, you've got a couple of picture-related ones as well every now and then. As you can see, about 400 of them. Again, I think this came from the CEX. It's got a Salvation Army sticker on the back. So this must have come from a Salvation Army charity shop first, and then found its way into a CEX. So again, user guide, but no entry thing this time. This one is the one that I am vaguely familiar with, the 4th Millionaire, the Family Entertainment Edition. And the reason I sort of vaguely remember this is because this was actually a demo on I think a News of the World sort of promotional DVD. So it's basically like a demo of the game, and when you reach £32,000, the demo ends. And of course, you've got to buy the actual DVD to try and reach the virtual million. And now, years later, here it is. And all of its Thompson holiday winning glory. Okay, yeah, because that was the thing with some of these. You could actually win a virtual holiday to with a Thompson and all of that, which you will see again in just a moment. And then the last piece of Millionaire-related stuff is the 5th edition, which was the real cash prize edition where you could win £15,000. Oh, obviously, you can't do that nowadays because the competition closed years and years ago. 2008 to be exact. There is also a... actually, there's a CX receipt there. An advert for other DVDs. Other interactive DVD games. There is also a 6th edition, like a 10th anniversary one. But I'm not sure if I'm going to get it. Because I had trouble with it back in the past and it taught me for the rest of my life. And I've also seen a bit of footage of it. It's not that great, to be honest. Not quite as good as these ones. So yeah, there's that. That's all the Millionaire stuff. And now on to the other assorted DVD games, including another one from the Universal Library. It's Tele Addicts Multiplayer Family Edition with Noel and Nobody Ever Sees Me Nowadays Edmonds. And again, like Millionaire, you could win a family holiday from Thompson. So yes, anybody remember Tele Addicts? It's that quiz show about television and all that, answering questions about a bunch of different TV shows. There are a couple of these as well. I think this is actually the 2nd edition. I think there's about 3 of these, 3 or 4. So again, you got the gameplay guide, just goes through all the rules and stuff. And next up, you are the weakest link. Goodbye! With my terrible Anne Robinson impression. The Weakest Link, one of the most popular BBC shows starring the Queen of Mean, Anne Robinson. Nowadays, she does Countdown. I think she does Countdown nowadays. They did come back recently with Romesh Ragnarsson. But this is years and years ago with Anne Robinson. And of course, Weakest Link had to have its own DVD game. And I've also got the console version on a PlayStation 2. Because there's also a PS1 version as well. Same with the first Millionaire game on PS1. Speaking of Anne Robinson, here she is in Test the Nation, the Great British Test. This is one that I've never heard of before. It's apparently a BBC series. So it's basically a bunch of questions about Britain stuff. And there's also a second disc, which is the National IQ Test. That sounds interesting. There is another one of these as well. I think it's an entertainment-related version. And there's information on the quiz, the game itself. And next up, we have another fantastic game show. Another one of my all-time favourites, like Millionaire and stuff. We've got Bullseye. It's a Bullseye! And in one... It's the first Bullseye game, the one that doesn't have Jim Bowen in it, the Upstarts one, which is, it's not great. Kind of makes me wonder why I even picked this up again. But at the same time, it is actually sort of vaguely follows the rules. It does vaguely follow the rules well, which some of these Bullseye sort of media is quite guilty of not doing so, especially with the old game back on like the ZX Spectrum and the Switch, even the Switch game. The not so great Switch game doesn't really follow the rules all that well. And in 2, it's classic Bullseye, the one with Jim Bowen and Tony Green. As you heard me doing a voice impression of him, or an impersonation of him in a few minutes, or just a few minutes earlier. But yeah, in terms of DVD games, though, this is definitely better than that one. It's much more... It's got Jim Bowen in it. It's got everything you could possibly want from it. So if you're that desperate and hankering for a Bullseye DVD game experience, this is probably the one to go. There is also another version of this, but the only difference is it's got different questions and stuff. So the sort of clips with Jim Bowen in it are exactly the same as this. And then we have Anthony Cotton's Rovers Return pub quiz. A sort of Coronation Street related, because it takes place in the Rovers Return and it's got Anthony Cotton in it. But it's mostly entertainment related stuff. And this is another DVD game that I do sort of vaguely remember, because we also had a pirated copy version of this. Just imagine that, someone making a pirated copy of a DVD game. And we also had one of Sally Lindsay. Pub quiz with Sally Lindsay in it, and that one. And then inside you have adverts for the Bullseye one I was on about. That's the second Bullseye DVD game. And Catchphrase, the DVD game, the one with Roy Walker. So that sounds interesting. Might try and find that one day. And last but not least, we have this little sort of double box set of the Great British Pub Quiz 1 and 2. So there's actually a couple of these ones. It's basically a pub quiz on a DVD. So we have the first one, the Great British Pub Quiz, which is a bit more bare bones in the presentation and stuff. And the Great British Pub Quiz 2. A bit more going on with the presentation in that one. And nothing on the inside. Not even any rules for the game. So yes, there you go. That is the DVD game collection. Just a bunch of random DVD games based on various game shows and other things. So yeah, DVD games was a bit of an interesting fad back in the day that we probably aren't going to ever see again in this day and age. So it is nice to have some of these based on some of my favourite game shows and stuff, even if they are of varying levels of quality. So anyway, that's it for another video. The next time you'll see me, it's probably going to be another one of the pick-up related videos. We're currently in September. And that's when I can finally go out again, because the summer holidays are all over and everybody's back to school and work and all of that, except for me, of course. So yeah, that's it. Until next time, I will see you in another video. Till then, take care.